Hey everyone, it's Priest SLC, and today I'm doing a tutorial on the SMOK TFV4 RDA. However, we're going to do a little bit of a twist on it. This is an RBA build, and I am going to be making a vertical coil. I was watching Rip's video on the TFV4, which he also has a giveaway going on right now as well, and one of the cons that he was mentioning was the fact that you can't build a vertical coil on this, and it's designed primarily for horizontal builds. And I was like, yeah, okay, I could definitely build one. So this is going to be my experiment. I've got my TFV4 laid out here. I have my coil wrapper, some 22 gauge Canthal. I just undid one wrap from my spool and cut it off. And yeah, we're going to build it. So let's get into it. I've got a 3mm coil wrapper here. I like using these instead of the screwdriver method or anything else. I'm going to give it a decent amount of leeway here so that I can work with the legs after I've got it made. And I'm going to do a 6 wrap here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe we'll go 7 just for good measure. And I usually like to wrap my coils to the point where the legs are kind of parallel to each other. So the wrap starts here and it ends here. I'm going to pull that off. And taking a look at this deck, it looks like we're going to need to finagle it a little bit to get the legs to orient exactly how we want them to. So I'm going to play around with that a little bit, get the legs so they're nice and parallel, coming off basically at the same area. And then what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take one of these legs and drop it down. So probably the best way of doing that, let's see, I'm probably going to actually want to put a little bit more twist on this and have it more of a 90-degree angle for these, and then I'm going to bend it over and then bend it down, so get a little bit more. There we go. Pretty happy with that. So just basically, let's see, that's actually a 7 wrap coil, 22 gauge, and I've got it parallel. I'm going to take the top leg, I'm going to take my pliers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch it right up here, really close to where the coil is coming off. And let's see, take my screwdriver, which is also about 3mm, and I'm going to bend it so the legs are now facing opposing directions. But this one is on the left side and the bottom one is on the right side. The bottom one will go down to the RBA base. This one will bend down and then go to the RBA base. So what I'm going to do is I want to kind of try to keep this leg, its bend, going down as close to the coil as possible. So I'm going to take it, give it a little bit of space here so my pliers will clear it when I make this bend, and we're just going to bend this one straight down. And of course there's going to be a little bit of tweaking to get it into the position we want, and then I'm going to kind of pull it out and away from the coil, and then I'm going to rock it forward away from the coil. So it's kind of going down on a diagonal. I know the lighting's not the best in here and I apologize for that, but you're going to get the general idea. So now that I've got this, let's take our base, and when I build these, I like putting the RBA base in here to work with it, because I found out through trial and error that the little tiny silicone washer that they've got down there is very fragile and it tears very easily. So now that I've got this guy here, I want it to hover just slightly above where the air hole is. I don't want anything touching the deck. It looks like I need to put a little bit more bend into this. So basically this process is just going to be a manner of sizing it up, tweaking until everything gets aligned where we like it, and that's looking a lot better. So Now I think I'm going to take this leg and I'm going to bend it over for going into the RBA base, and I want it about right there, yeah, about where I've got it. Maybe I'll give it a little bit more space, and then we're going to bend it over so it's going to go in. Now, the thing I really love about this base, and for some people it's been a con, but for me it's a pro, I love that you've got that little channel to push the wire into and then screw it down. For me, that's a really, really great method of retention, and I haven't had any problems with it. Now, clip off however much you want. I'm just going to leave probably about, I would say, 1/8 of an inch for going in, and I'm just going to go ahead and mount this up. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the placement there, and I'm going to be able to move it and manipulate it from here. So I'm going to go ahead and secure this lead down to the RBA base, nice and tight. Then I will take my screwdriver and kind of pull the coil over the center, making sure that I'm still leaving a little bit of space there. And now I'm going to work and size up this side here and get this off. It looks like my coil is touching, so I'm going to raise this up a little bit. And that's the beautiful thing about working with these heavier gauge wires, is the fact that when you move it, when you manipulate it, they kind of stay in place after you've moved it, which is definitely a benefit. And also, when you get into the dry burn phase, you're going to be able to manipulate it even further, and it will stay in place a lot better when you're actually doing the dry burn. So now I need to make a leg that's going to go into this. So I need to bring this side here over a little bit, and I found that these pliers that have the curve in them is perfect for making little tiny bends in your coils and making little adjustments. So if you don't have a pair of those, I'd highly suggest getting one. They've been very useful. So I've just made a bend to pull this out and away, and then I'm going to take this section right here and I'm going to bring it down and get the wire heading towards that bottom hole. So we'll give it a little bit of space to work with and finagle about. And then right about there is probably where I'm going to want my bend going in, so I'll go ahead and make that. Now I'm going to trim this off with about 1/8 of an inch of space for the leg to go in. And we'll just get this lined up with a hole, get that manipulated in there. And I didn't put exact kind of creases in here, so I'm going to have to play around with this a little bit to get it in there perfectly, but it looks like it's going. Maybe my screw's not up out of the hole enough. I've done that. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So now I've got that guy in there, and I know that I've got enough wire that it's going to grab it when I tighten it down. I'm going to tighten down this end here. Voila, look at that. We have got a coil, and as you can see right now, it's not very lined. That's why we use our tools. So now that I've got it secured down to the deck, I can use my 3mm screwdriver or even my coil winder if I wanted to, and we can finesse this into place. Finesse meaning bend the heck out of it until it actually goes where we want it to. Also, really fine needle nose pliers are on the coil builder's necessity list, because it allows you to get into those coils and manipulate them as you need. And I'd say we're pretty darn close here. Just need to get this a little bit more centered. All right. And voila, we have ourselves a horizontal coil on a TFV4. So, let's see, before I burn this, I'm just going to tidy it up. Now we are going to put it on my mod, which is a Snow Wolf 200. And we're gonna heat that puppy up and get things all straightened out. And I'm not grounding out anywhere. The coil is now burning nice and good. That extra wrap was a good idea. I've got 6 coils glowing very nicely and very evenly now. And it's glowing from the inside out. Cool this off a little bit. And I haven't worked with this stuff in a while, but I'm going to try using the Japanese cotton sheets for this, since I'm going to be layering them around. And I'm going to cut off about 4mm thick strips to layer around. And the goal is basically to just get it so that it is wrapping around the coil. And I understand this isn't as straightforward and easy as building all of the standard horizontal coils, but a lot of people really like vertical coils. And on this, I've done one vertical coil build before this, and I really enjoyed the flavor I was getting out of it. So I decided, hey, you know, I should probably do a video on how to do this. Other people are gonna, you know, want to definitely enjoy the benefit of having this coil. So now the thing you want to do when you're wrapping this is you want to get the cotton down to these channels, but you don't want to wrap so much on there that it impedes the terminal posts, because those are pretty much something that is flush with the cap that goes on. So you want to just kind of finagle that around there and make sure that you're going high in the sections where the post mount is and low where the juice well is. And this is going to be something where, you know, you're going to have to do a little bit of trial and error. You can stick your screwdriver or coil wrapping device inside the coil as you're arranging the cotton to make sure that your air hole stays put. Another tip that I have found is really cool is you can take your hood chimney section, put it on whatever device that you're working with, align it with the coil, and then when you get close, you can use that to kind of check your positioning, see where your cotton's at, get an idea for, you know, if you're really completely out of tolerance or if you're getting really, really close. The other thing is you're going to want to saturate this before using it, because with all this cotton in there, if there's any of it that's going to be dry, you're going to definitely burn that cotton, and then you're going to get nasty hits. Nobody's going to be happy, and you're going to abandon it, go back to the horizontal coil builds that everybody has been building on these. So anyway, there we go. I think that's probably about good right there. And what we're also going to do is we're going to do a little bit more arranging of this cotton once we get the chimney section back on. So now that I've got this in an area where I'm happy with it, I'm going to get it arranged, and I'm going to secure the chimney down, leaving my guide in there. And then I'm going to take, I've got a turkey baster needle, which I found is very good for raking coils as well as for working, manipulating cotton and getting things all sized up. You want to make sure that you're dropping this cotton, packing it down below the threads in the top of the chimney section here. That way, when you go to put your top on, you don't have anything interfering with the seal and making sure that it goes down properly, because if you don't, then you could get a leak at the top, and nobody wants that. So now that I've got that situated like that, and I've got it packed down below that, I'm going to start saturating it. And it takes a little bit of time for the juice to saturate down into the cotton, but since we're using that Japanese cotton, this stuff actually wicks juice very quickly. Once I've got a few layers of this, I'll start pulsing the heat, I've got this set to 40 watts for this 6-wrap 22 gauge, and that seems to be the perfect temperature for it. So now that I've got that nice and saturated, I can actually pack it down a little bit easier now that it actually has some juice in it. And then when I pull my alignment screwdriver out, I'm going to have a nice, good, clean channel straight down. And I will use my baster / cotton manipulation tool to pull the cotton even further away from the edge so that the top of the coil there is exposed, and that's going to give you a little bit more expansion room for the vapor to come out. Since we're going for expansion of the gases directly into the center of the coil, we want to make sure that path is completely open. So now I'll start pulsing some heat, and that will pull the juice that is up there down a little bit further, and it's pretty well saturated now. All right. Now I'm just going to kind of do a preliminary juice filling. Since I've got this guy open, I will fill it to the top of this. And as you can see, it is wicking nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and top this off a little bit more since I've got it open, and it'll top off quicker. Then I'm going to put the top on. And we will open the top cap and fill it further from there. Twist that guy till it seats nice and good. Open that puppy up and we'll fill it up the rest of the way. And I found with this dispenser, you can just literally put your juice right into it. Hold your bottle over top of it if that's the type you use, or your dripper, and it will, the way they've designed this, it just falls right in. It's an amazing system. I love this tank. Okay, so that's basically it. Now let's take another hit off of it. Nice, dense, tasty vapor. And I've got this thing completely open. I have the mouthpiece open all the way, as well as the bottom section. And as you can see, there's absolutely no leaking with this. When you first start using this, you're going to hear a little bit of gurgling until things kind of stabilize. You have the saturated cotton in there, and that's going to give you a little bit of gurgle initially. But with this setup, I run it between 40 to 50 watts, and at 50 watts, it's a very nice warm vape. After vaping it there for a while, I tend to turn it down to 40. But anyway, there you go. From start to finish, a vertical coil on SMOK TFV4. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a like. Any questions, just go ahead and leave a comment, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And have a good time, guys. Bye.